had a job lined up for my husband at the FBI. And it was a wonderful opportunity, so we thought. And as soon as he fell down a flight of stairs at the place we were renting, he needed neck and back surgery. And by the time he was rehabilitated and ready to go back to work, they had decided they didn't need him anymore. My husband suffers with PTSD. He's a military veteran, and losing his job meant losing him. We had to be out of our rental, and we had nowhere to go. And no place was going to let us have our pets. It was just a huge conundrum, and I had really no idea what was going to happen to our family.
I had a really loud ex-husband, and he ended up getting us kicked out of the trailer park. So we became homeless quick. It was me, my 2-year-old, and my 7-year-old. We slept in my vehicle, and we got a hotel room every handful of days when school was starting. During the summertime, while we were still homeless, I didn't worry too much about showers or this and the other thing. Just trying to find a place to even park for the night, get a couple hours shut-eye, making sure the kids were going to be safe. At that point, I knew, my safety wasn't my number one, it was my kids'. We did get very blessed that I had a bigger vehicle. I remember there was a lot of nights I would go out to the church, find a dark spot in the back corner. I'd get my 2-year-old out of his car seat, cuddle up with him. My daughter, she would lay across the back seat. We would have blankets covering the windows. And the next morning we got up and went to the park.
We lived in an apartment on Stays, my grandson and I. Things were really good until I decided to let someone move in with me, and they decided to put their cigarettes out on the siding of the house, and I was evicted. My grandson is 16. He's had a rough life. He is autistic.
I was with an abusive person, and that situation wasn't the greatest, so since that time I've gotten clean. I got a job. I am no longer in a women's shelter. I have custody of my children. I'm no longer fighting for custody of them, because for a brief moment I almost lost my children because of my using and bad choices that I made, but I'm slowly making up for that, I hope, and trying to do better.
I actually grew up homeless most of my life, but once I got married and I established a family and I became a mother, I never thought that sense of security would be ripped from me and my children again. Me and their father was separated back in 2017, which left me homeless, and so I was couch hopping with family, and we moved in with my brother, and me and my 3 kids shared a room. It's a 2-bedroom trailer, and it can take a toll on any relationship, especially being in that close space, and a matter of boundaries and respecting each other's space. And it's scary, especially being a mother with 3 kids, and you're relying on somebody else's for a roof and security over your own children's head. It was like walking on eggshells constantly. And it wasn't anything that my brother did. It's just that fear that, you have no control over your home or your environment or your safety or security for your children. So.
It was stressful. When's my kids gonna eat next? Hopefully I can get my kids to shower. They're getting a little stinky. They're getting filthy. Baby wipes ain't cutting it no more. Are they sleeping okay? Are they hurting?
When we had no place to go, literally no place to go, and the cost of living was so ridiculous, we were in a pickle. It was so embarrassing anyway, to have to tell somebody what we were going through. And at this point, my very depressed husband was ready to divorce, and that put more on our children. I think it was just him at his lowest of low and felt like we deserved better, but we just wanted our family to be together. All sorts of things were hitting us at one time, and I think our family was just losing hope. And as a mom, I'm trying to keep it together and not let my kids see my worry or my tears.
My kids lost their home and their security, you know, and it was I made the choice to leave from, you know, but I didn't realize I would rock my kids' security like that as much as it did, for as long as it did. And so, you know, I guess I had this naivety that I could instantly get a home and do it all on my own, and it just wasn't that easy.
Having them at the same school without transferring them from place to place has been wonderful, because then they've had the same friends, the same teachers. They haven't had to build new relationships with people or with teachers.
They changed schools quite a few times. They had to change around a lot due to just finding a home, you know. One thing about being homeless and being a single mom was family sometimes doesn't understand how much they're taking on a single mom and 3 kids and allowing them into your home. And it got overwhelming for those that offered their home. It was too much for them. Even me doing everything I could to help with the bills and cleaning up after them, it was just having 3 kids in the home when you're not used to it was really stressful on them. And so we lost 2 different places to stay before my brother took us in. It was really heartbreaking for them. My daughter still talks about her best friend that she met in kindergarten, or her best friend that she met in Head Start, and they develop these emotional attachments with friends, but they're not able to really develop them fully, or, you know, they go through constant loss of these relationships they build in the transitioning schools and different homes. And so, you know, it was really hard on them.
So I got a call from the district saying, hey, Tori's going to be at this school this year, right? And they asked me my address, and I told them I didn't have an address. They offered to keep Tori in the same school as she was in last year to keep consistency. I told them, yes, please, that would be amazing, instead of having my daughter find new friends. And when they offered that, I know it took a lot of stress off of me and my daughter.
Our kids were able to stay in the same schools they started in, which was something we were so thankful for, because any kind of transition from so many transitions would have been pretty traumatic for them. Our kids were excited about learning. They were excited about their teachers and determined to get good grades. But what they liked more is knowing that they had a safe place to go, that if they needed somebody to talk to, they knew where they could go. And the school provided so much comfort for them at a time when they were really not certain about their present situation. We were just really, really touched by the compassion and the care they genuinely had for our children, and didn't want them to feel ostracized or left out or cold, and met their basic needs, made sure if they were hungry they had something to eat, and also provided so many different resources of food banks or other places that we could go to get clothing assistance if we needed. It was incredible. I was determined to work as many hours as possible anywhere. So I sought out jobs, and I, at one point, had 3 different jobs. They didn't pay me a whole bunch, but it's what I could contribute to our family, which made it so much more difficult to be mom. I didn't want to miss moments with the kids. And I felt like they were having to grow up way too fast because they started having to make their own meals and, you know, do their homework without mom's help, and even decide on a proper bedtime.
And there's a lack of understanding that, you know, it's not that easy when you don't have a village. You know, I don't have, when my kids are sick, I don't have an option to drop them off. And I can't schedule their sick days for my off days. My daughter, Jamie, she's had some behavioral issues due to the instability and having to move homes, losing friends, having to change schools. And it's funny because once we established that stability, she started having a violent outburst, and where she got kicked out of 2 different daycares, you know. And so it's not just as easy as taking your kids and taking them to daycare, even with the resources of ICCP and all that health and welfare provides. It's a struggle to fight out of homelessness, because it does take a village to raise a family. It does take somebody willing to be there so you can work when your kids are sick, and when they're in school and daycare, they get sick a lot, you know, and it's hard to be reliable and dependable when you don't have the help or support for your children. And so it's just kind of a vicious cycle that kind of keeps you homeless and keeps you stuck.
Where I was struggling, trying to find a place, trying to save up for a place, trying to save up for a hotel room to get the kids cleaned. I wasn't able to get my daughter's school supplies. So the school said, hey, we got you. Here's a backpack full of all her supplies she's going to need. I know you guys were homeless during the summer. It's starting to get chilly. Here's a voucher. Go get your kids some warmer clothes. Get your guys self a coat. So this school really, really helped. Because it's so embarrassing having kids and just knowing that they don't have a roof over their head and you don't know when they're going to eat next. Unless it's with the school, or, you know. But the summertime, that was the rough part. The school district did provide like a lunch for the kids under 18. So we did that quite often. Got them a sandwich or whatever they were serving that day. There were a good handful of days that was the only thing my kids ate.
When you're homeless, you don't want to be there. You don't want to stay there. You don't want to live off of the government. You really don't. You want to be able to take pride that I do this for my kids. I earned this for my kids. And there's a lot of shame and guilt and not being able to do that, and have to ask for help and having to accept help and trying to figure out how to do it all on your own. You know, I personally, you know, I get to do online college, so even if my kids are sick, I can still go to college and all that. So I do have a plan and goals to get out of assistance, but it's hard to get there, you know, when it just feels like wall after wall after wall. And when you're in that situation, you do hit a lot of walls, and you have to stay really strong and motivated and support with the school, and knowing that my kids are amazing and being reminded that my kids are amazing and that they have support. That really helped to motivate me and push me forward, because I didn't feel alone and I didn't feel judged or put down by the school. I felt motivated to move forward.
it makes you feel like a failure sometimes because you aren't able to provide the basic things that your children need. But then at the end of the day, you get to see how happy they are, even with just minimal things, with just each other and love.
Well, what I love about the schools here in Idaho is it feels like the teachers genuinely care about their students and want their students to do well. We were able to get housing and get on our feet and get established. Helped us with looking into getting utilities help for the winter months ahead.
Like, I know people out there say, oh, being homeless is controllable, just pay your bills. There's some things that's just not controllable. There's a lot more help out there than I thought there would be.
Something I learned about homelessness is it can happen to anyone. Compassion breeds compassion, and kindness breeds kindness.
Reach out to the people in your schools. You'd be surprised what the school's able to help you with. The districts that have these programs are amazing. They are truly a lifesaver.
Empathy is key, because I needed to hear from somebody that I wasn't a bad mom, that I wasn't feeling just because my kids have went through homelessness. I was still a good mom, and having that empathy and that little bit of reminders here and there really saved my life.